On the podcast, which parties stand in the way of doing what is right and what is desperately needed in New Zealand? The answer is all of them. Unless we have everyone in the tent, we ain't going no place. Luxon, Peters, Bishop, come on. Reach out. And Labour, what's your answer? It's got to be in the national interest. So let's go.
Are we paying these people to front up, or are we paying them to fly to Wellington to eat their lunch? Should you really lose your career for refusing to take part in a 90-minute lesson about Māori culture? This government doesn't actually have any idea how to get economic growth. Show us what you made of, Prime Minister.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, proudly sponsored by the Brothers Green. Unlock the innate power of New Zealand botanicals to support your mobility. Try the Brothers Green New Zealand Move Joint Support Tonic and join over 20,000 other Kiwis experiencing easier movement. For as little as $1 a day, you too can experience the power of New Zealand hemp seed oil for your joint health. Head to brothersgreen.co and use code DG20 at the checkout for 20% off your first order. It's a good one. Always read the label. Take as directed. Supplementary, of course, to a balanced diet. The Brothers Green, Christchurch. G'day and welcome to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief. Nice to have you along, and please subscribe. Really helps us stay around. Thanks to the Brothers Green, of course, as well. But if you subscribe, you can text the word Duncan or my name Duncan to 3598. For $7.99, you'll get more content. You'll get extra content on the Friday. You'll get my newsletter, Ask Me Anything sessions, the whole thing. And that helps us stay around. So thank you so much. Today, Tom O'Neill will talk to us very shortly. He's from cv.co.nz. He says more jobs are being advertised. There are some green shoots. That's good. But what if you're a young person? How do you get a job? How do we turn around youth unemployment, which is so high, 23%? But first, the gutless wonders in Parliament who aren't operating in the national interest. All of them. Let's go.
It's the Slam Dunk.
Okay, over the next year, in the lead up to the election, we will witness our major political parties release dozens of policies. They'll claim them to be economically transformative, that they're life-changing, and they involve resetting the New Zealand economy. So that's your bullshit detector, okay? Set it to high alert, because sadly, no political leader in this country has the balls to do what is really needed to transform the New Zealand economy, to get out of the way some of these big issues that we have right now. None of them have the guts to do the right thing. They're also compromised and living in fear of becoming unpopular, you see, so they'll just tinker. All they do is tinker. Most put self-preservation and survival well before the public good, hence why none of them will tackle the controversial stuff, the really big stuff. You can make little policies, little cuts, little things on the margins. That doesn't make an impact. None of them make major cuts to the largesse. None of them want to risk being unpopular, so they become timid and they patronise us with watered-down, reheated policies that we are likely to have seen before. Take the Nats on welfare with the increased work testing, that sort of thing. I've seen that every time they get into office. I've seen it since Shipley was there in 99. They get to office, but it's mere tinkering. They first looked at this in 1999 under Jenny Shipley. It flopped then and it won't work now. In the 25 intervening years, more people are now on benefits than ever. It hasn't got them off benefits. They only stand out. The only standout in all this, or the only leading light here, is Erica Stanford, who in the space of 2 years, short 2 years, is getting better results in education and is embarking on a massive change to NCEA. In many ways, the 3-year cycle and the nature of MMP means we can't reform anything. The tail wags the dog and we do nothing of significance ever because we haven't got the options nor the wealth. Labor's tried to bring in this capital gains tax a number of times, 3 times probably, in the last 10 years. It's muffed it each time, stuffed it up each time. I reckon only half the party actually believe in one anyway. Their MPs are not working class battlers. They're well-paid, educated, uncomfortably rich MPs. And a party that historically wants to redistribute wealth via the tax system. And watch Labor once again float this idea of a wealth tax or capital gains tax. How many times will Labor take to announce this and get it right? But if we agree with one of them, then get National on board and then we can deal with it so we're all on the same page. This chopping and changing of policies every 3 years, it's doing us no good. We don't become wealthier. In fact, we become a bit of a standing joke. And the world's investors don't want to invest here because we're so short term. We need to grow the economy. Taxing it won't grow anything. But also, now more than any time in our history, I believe we're a nation divided as well. We're angry. There's no middle ground anymore. There's no consensus. There's no reaching out. We're angry. No party wants to help the other one. Again, look at NCEA. Erica Stanford wrote to Labor to bring them into the picture, to get them on board. They arrogantly ignored her. She exposed their antics. God, it was gold. It is powerful when both sides come together. It's so rare, though. It usually works, but I sense none of that exists right now. None of that goodwill exists right now. Remember Helen Clark and John Key coming together to stop kids being whacked? You know, the anti-smacking legislation? Imagine Hipkins and Luxon coming together to raise the age of, say, eligibility for New Zealand Super, which could save billions of dollars down the track, which would mean more classrooms, better cancer drugs, all that sort of thing. Imagine if they came together. It's a powerful look. But they're not going to come together. New Zealand Super costs $24 billion. It goes up by about $2 billion every year. When the finance minister sits down, any finance minister sits down to allocate money in their budget, the first $24 billion goes to the over 65s. The next $24 billion goes on welfare to the rest of them. 450,000 people on welfare in New Zealand. So the first $50 billion of spending goes to welfare, either in superannuation or welfare benefits. Almost $50 billion. And after that, it's sort of chump change. The health sector gets about $19 billion. Education's about $17 billion. And with our borrowing so high, we borrow so much money now. We've borrowed so much money. We borrowed the house down. Our next $10 billion goes on debt servicing. That's debilitating. $10 billion on servicing the interest on our debt. That's not principal. That's servicing the interest. $10 billion. Imagine what that could do in public policy. Imagine how many hip operations, or imagine how many new cancer drugs you could save lives with $10 billion. It could transform services in health. 600 million transform the cancer drugs. Imagine what 10 billion would do. But that's the price of a bloated and ill-disciplined government. We've gone from 50 billion in borrowings to 160 billion in borrowings. And with nothing really to show for it. When we borrow, we've got to pay it back, and we're still not living within our means. The last government, and this government, has failed to take hard decisions and genuinely cut things back on a scale that would make a difference. National hasn't made a difference in that area. Making small changes now frees money up for more classrooms and more operations, but you've got to signal it to the markets first. If you make a big changes now, then you're going to free up money in the out years. But if you just tinker, it doesn't mean anything. You have to really attack superannuation. You have to attack those big dollar numbers, those big dollars and superannuation and those sorts of things. But no country is staying put at 65 as an age of retirement, only New Zealand. It's a massive albatross around the necks of New Zealanders, if we're being honest here. It limits what we can do because it sucks so much out of our tax system. When we pay our tax, out it goes to the over 65-year-olds for superannuation. If we put it to 67, will it matter? And roll it in 20 years, just establish it and roll it in. So every year there's someone of, say, 65 and a half, 66. That's how you do it. On all the major necessary changes needed, we can't get consensus, or we're not even trying to get consensus. When you do big things like superannuation and changes to it, you've got to get the other side on board. Bill English did it. Labor changed it back. Look at the oil and gas ban. Jacinda Ardern whacked on the ban on oil and gas. National lifted it. But the companies, the foreign companies that want to come here, are now worried that a change of government is all it would take to go back to the ban, you see, with Labor. So they don't want to invest their vast amounts of foreign capital here. They're out. And this is the problem for MMP as well. So with governments chopping and changing, and them chopping and changing policies so quickly and so rapidly every 3 years, there's no interest. Go to Britain with a 5-year term. The foreign companies do line up to invest. Luxon had a mandate to introduce a program of economic and social reform. Instead, he sat back and sucked his thumb, watching Seymour wind up the local Māori. On business tax, we're no longer competitive, and that needs addressing. Get both sides to agree at the same time what the business tax should be. We need changes that we all agree with to the tax system, so they're lasting and sustainable. On superannuation, we need all the parties to agree on an age. But then Winston will push back, you see. We need to have everyone sign up to it as well. The electricity reforms, so we get cheaper power. We don't want to mince around, which this government's doing. It's playing little games. We need big reforms to get cheaper power. We've parked these issues, and I say it's not good enough. It's in our interest that they get the best deal for us, and they're not. Health, education, infrastructure. You've got to come together on those big three things. Health, education, infrastructure. So we're not chopping and changing every 3 years, and then the victims and the people that suffer along the way are the voters. The hard stuff will stay in the too hard basket for too long. Chris Luxon and National know what needs to be done, but they're too worried about staying popular, so they've done nothing. They're cowardly, too weak, too gutless to make big calls, and boy, that's a disappointment. This country is being run by political toddlers, terrified of offending the next voter instead of doing what's bloody necessary. I mean, you can argue against Roger Douglas, you can argue against what Jim Bolger and co had to do in the 90s, but they did it early and they went for it because they had to make the New Zealand economy more competitive. What are these guys doing? They are the tinkerers of MMP, both sides. The big parties, Labour, National, and the Support Acts, they're all guilty. They're obsessed with the next poll, not the next generation. We're a nation sleepwalking into crisis after crisis. We know the problems, we can see them. Hell, we write reports about them every day. And we live them every day. Crumbling hospitals, clogged roads, a teaching workforce on life support, and a retirement scheme that is mathematically doomed. As I've already said, it's far too expensive. Right now, we've got about 6 people paying for every 2 retirees. It's going to get down to 2 people paying for every two retirees. Come on. Yet what do we get from our politicians? We get shrugs and smiles and a few weak promises. The word bold left Wellington years ago, despite them saying we've got some bold new policy and we're going to reset the economy. Come on. And unless bold comes back soon, this country, I wonder if we're screwed. I don't want us to be. Superannuation's a ticking time bomb, isn't it? So let's go back to superannuation. We all know the truth. We're living longer. We're healthier. And we can work longer too. But not a single major party leader has the guts to say we need to raise the age of eligibility for the sake of our country and our finances. No one wants to tell the truth. And John Key was one of the worst offenders on this. Right now, superannuation is costing this country $24 billion every year. That is a cheque that they write out at the start of the year. That's non-negotiable. Next year, it's $26 billion. That's more than we spend on health. Let that sink in. We spend more on the over 65s for their comfortable retirement than we do across the entire health sector. We spend more on superannuitants than we do across the entire education sector. And that figure is rising fast. By 2030, it'll hit $30 billion. By 2040, it's north of $50 billion. Why? Because we're retiring earlier and we're living longer. It's not rocket science. When we died a bit earlier before, that means the cost came down. But we're living longer lives, so it's costing more. Surely, you would give it to people just a little bit later because they're living longer. It's basic maths. We simply can't afford to fund a growing chunk of the population for 30 years of retirement. 30 years. And Luxon won't address this. Hipkins won't address this. Peters is in denial. They're all not doing things in the public interest. Ask any economist worth their salt. Raising the retirement age is a basic fiscal hygiene issue. But try getting that past a politician more interested in keeping grey power happy than safeguarding your kids' future. They'll much rather open a new wing of a school now than make any big changes. Although Erica Stanford has changed that, hasn't she? That's cowardice. And on welfare, 500,000 Kiwis are on a benefit. It's no standard of living, 500,000 Kiwis being on benefit. But we need those of us who can work to work. We've made much about this. And it's too obvious that there is now an alternative lifestyle. Can both parties clamp down? I doubt it. They can't be on the same page. We're drowning in debt, but we're paying for the privilege. We pay $10 billion, as I said, every year on interest alone. And while we're at it, let's talk about debt. We owe $160 billion. We're not even touching the principal when we put $10 billion every year forward to address it, to pay it back. $10 billion is just the interest. That's more than what we spend on police, corrections and defence combined. How's that? We spend more on interest on our foreign debt than we do on all our prisons, all our defence force and all our police combined. We're borrowing from offshore just to keep the lights on. And every rate rise from the Reserve Bank or the Fed overseas means we're throwing more of your taxes and interest payments. Not hospitals, not schools, not roads. This is economic madness, and we're stuck in a cycle of short-term thinking. MMP hasn't helped. MMP has been a disaster on this front, and I wonder if maybe, and I haven't thought hugely about this, but maybe we ditch MMP. The price tag is growing by the day. Chopping and changing is making us poorer. Here's the truth. No politician will say this out loud. The constant chopping and changing of major policy every 3 years is making us poor. We swing from one education policy to another, one health reform to another. Stop, start, reverse. Stop, start, reverse, repeat. Infrastructure projects get greenlit, and then they get scrapped the next day. They get green light one day, next year scrapped. Every government arrives with a wrecking ball for the last one's work, and we start all over again every 3 years, at your expense and my expense. That's not how you build a country, and I'm tired of it. We don't need any more reports. We know what to do. This is how you build chaos, actually. Every time we change direction, it costs us billions. Look at the ferry. Look at the Cook Strait Ferry. Wasted time, abandoned projects, confused public servants who can't plan beyond the next election. No business would survive with this kind of governance, and yet we keep tolerating it in government. We keep voting them back in. Enough. Let's drop the faux outrage on everything, find some common ground, work together. Where's the cross-party vision? Is it possible? The three pillars of any modern society are health, education and infrastructure. So let's get on with it together. What do we get? We get constant flip-flopping, policy U-turns, petty tribalism every time the government changes. We need a cross-party accord, a real one. Set down some shared principles that can't be gutted every 3 years. Lock in some long-term funding for health so we're not scraping the barrel for nurses. Commit to education reforms that outlast political egos. And for God's sake, fix the roads, rail and pipes before we turn into a third world backwater. Auckland alone faces a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure backlog. Across the country, we've got hospitals built in the 1960s trying to handle 2025 level demand. It's laughable. If it wasn't so bloody serious, but it's serious. Grow up or get out. Here's the challenge to Luxon, Hipkins, Peters, the Greens, all of them. Stop playing politics with our future. Start acting like leaders. And put the nation first. Put people first. Not yourselves, other people. Raise the age of superannuation. And phase it in fairly and carefully. Signal to the public that this is going to happen. People like me. Tell me I'm going to work till 66, 67. I don't mind and I get it. But we need to know because it's not sustainable in its current format. Sign a national accord on health, education, infrastructure. Bring in experts. Listen to evidence. Think beyond the bloody 6 o'clock news cycle. And for the love of this country, stop spending money we don't have just to buy votes. Every $1 billion borrowed today is a mortgage on our children's future. New Zealand is not broken beyond repair, but it's damn close, I reckon. And if the grown-ups don't show up soon, the next generation will be left with nothing but debt, decay, and a long list of missed opportunities. Mr. Luxon, you got 3 years, and how will you be judged? Have you squandered the first 2? What's your toughest call? This country deserves better, and you know it, and I know it. The only question is, do our politicians know this? Get on with it.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
We've all been there, right? Come home from a long day at work, sit down and then get the inevitable what's for dinner. Being too tired to cook or even drive to the shop, Uber One is your answer. Joining Uber One gives you $0 delivery fee on eligible orders, 5% Uber credit on all rides, and exclusive offers through Uber, Uber Eats, and their partners. And if you sign up before the end of the year, you'll also get $10 off Uber cashback. Wow, that's pretty good, isn't it? Join Uber One today and start reaping the benefits. It ends December 31st. T's and C's, a minimum spend and fees apply. Okay, let us to the editor. Duncan, heard your interview with Chris from Blocks. It is the second time I've listened to this and would like some contact details, please. Yep. You just head to the website at Blocks and you just go to BLOXX. Put that into your computer and to Google and it will come up. And Chris's details are all there. Okay, Blocks. Steve says to me, Duncan, when will I be able to buy some merch? A hoodie with you on it. I want to support you because you're a GC. Okay, mate. The merch is coming. What sort of? Would you like my name or would you like pictures of on the hoodie? You tell me. You get back to me. You design something for me. Hi, Duncan. Love your podcast. You're one of the few out there in the media telling it how it is. Love the un-PC tone of the show and the discussions with the panel, etc. I don't watch mainstream news on the TV as it's one-sided and doesn't tell the full story. And more importantly, it leaves the most important aspects of the story out as it may be too controversial and upset some people, which of course is bullshit and not the Kiwi way. I've been diving and fishing over the last 55 years on both the east and west coast, and now Shane Jones, who has many conflicts of interest within customary rights and commercial fishing, is telling the rest of us what we are entitled to. The smells of corruption and backhanders. This is seen as divisive and racially repugnant in most communities within New Zealand. Why is the media so quiet? Ask Shane Jones why customary fishers can fish in a no-take zone when others can't. Ask Shane Jones who's going to police it. Will there be a flotilla of vessels out there checking your customary entitlement if you happen to be one of the non-entitled New Zealanders? Guess that's 2 questions, but there's a lot of bullshit out there at present. Keep up the good work. I've subscribed for a year. Cheers, John. Thank you, John. Appreciate it, mate. Why not 2 years? I appreciate the year. I appreciate you signing up. You can text my name, Duncan, to 3598, and I'll send you the link to pay $7.99 a month. The reason we're asking you to do that is because Well, we want to stay around. But we've got costs and we need to cover them. We've kind of got away with it for a couple of years of flying under the radar of the company accountants, but I don't think any longer. So we've got to pay our way. So I'm asking you to help me if you can. If you can't, you still get the podcast, but if you can, you get extra content. And we really appreciate your support. Become part of Team Duncan. Don't trust the other media. Trust us. Tell the full story. I really always appreciate your support. Thank you very much. That's us, folks. Remember, you can get a hold of me, Duncan at rover.nz. Thanks to Brody Lockie. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Remember, life's no dress rehearsal. There's no curtain raiser, so get out and enjoy what we've got because, she's a long time lights out when it's all over. So make sure you enjoy it. Thank you to the Brothers Green Christchurch who make it all possible. We really appreciate your support and partnering up with us as well. Take care, folks. Ta-da.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, sponsored by the Brothers Green. Feed your gut what it needs. Digest Gut Health Protein Powder. I use it myself. It supports natural digestion and gut health. Made with premium Canterbury-grown hemp powder and a unique blend of active kiwifruit enzyme powder and kiwifruit skin extract, offering natural prebiotics and a nutrient-rich profile to complement a balanced lifestyle. Always read the label. Take as directed. Supplementary, of course, to a balanced diet. The Brothers Green, Christchurch.